Let's do it. I could just stand up and do this without ever looking at it. I didn't need to because I knew it. 5 and verse 13. Baichi. B-A-Y-C-H-I. Baichi. Baichi. Canaan. Achare. Do you need me to spell these out? Canaan, K-E-I-N-A-N. And then Achare, A-C-H-A-R-E-I. And by the way, this is my spelling of it. I guess I'm right. Hovladov, H-O-V-L-I-D-O-V, Et, Mahalel. Mahalel, and I even have it printed out up here for you right there. Mahalel. Okay? Arbaim. Arbaim. Shana. Boy, brother, you're doing great. Ushimone. Ushemone. U-S-H-E-M-O-N-E-H. Meot. M-E-O-T. Or, as the modern Hebrews say, M-E-O-B-T, but you really don't say that B anyways. Meot. Shana. S-H-A-N-A-H. Shana. Bayomid. Banim. B-A-N-I-M. Eubanot. All right. And existed, kept on existing, Canaan, after his causing to beget Mahalel. What does Mahalel mean?
God is splendor.
God is splendor. All right? Mahalel. Adonai, Adonai, kind of like that. God is splendor. John 1:14, John 1:18. These are all cross-references to that. By the way, he lived from 3609 to 2714 BC, according to some scholars. And 40 years. Arbaim Shana, 40 years. Yushimane, and 800 years. Meot Shana, 800 years. Vayolid. And he begat Banim, sons, Yubanot, and daughters. Sons and daughters. 5:14 now. 5:14. Vayihu. Vayihu. All right, so V-A-I-Y-I-H-U. You write this down, Marilyn? Kol. K-O-L. K-O-L. Now, by the way, look down there at that. That looks like a backward C, doesn't it? See that Kol? Kol-Lamet. That's, see that dot in the middle of it? That makes like a K. If it didn't have that, it would be like a C. Okay? So it's Kol, Yemei, Y-E-M-E-I, Canaan, Eser, like E-S-E-R, Shanim, Shanim, and then U-T-Shah, Meot, Shana, Vayamot. Let's go back and look at this now. And became, actually, and they became, look at that, third person masculine plural, cal, while, consecutive, imperfect. That's the whole, telling you everything about that verb there, okay? Third person masculine plural, cal, while, consecutive, imperfect. And they became all the days. The days became. All right? Of Canaan. Remember what Canaan means? Remember what Canaan means? Possession. Possession. Now Canaan lived 3679. All right? To 2759 BC. Some say 3650 to 2740. And then it says 10 years and 900. In other words, 910 years is how long he lived. Now, on that little chart I gave you out there, it tells you all of this. On the names, the 10 names, inspired names, it'll write all this out. And 900 years, and he died, vayamot. Third person, masculine, singular, cal, while, consecutive, imperfect. He stayed dead. That's what it means. While, consecutive, imperfect, imperfect tense. When you do something in the perfect tense, it stays, it keeps on going. So when you die, you stay dead. Basically, until the Lord raises your body up, you stay dead. All right? Let's go on here. 5 and verse 15 now. Vaychi. V-A-Y-C-H-I. Mahalel. And Mahalel, 3609 to 2714 BC. Shamesh. Shanim. Vishishim. Vishishim. V-E-S-H-I-S-H-I-M. Vishishim. Shana. Vayolid. Et. Yared. And lived, kept on living, Mahalel, splendor of God, 5 years. Chamesh, that is. Shanim, 5 years, and 60, that's the Vishishim, 60 Shana years, Vayolod, and he begat Et Jared. Okay, so it tells you how old he was when he begat Jared. Now Jared lived 3544 to 2582 BC. And he lived about 960 years. Jared did.
3544 to what?
3544 to 2582. Now if you'll get your other little paper out there maybe. If you'll look on this, okay, Jared, I tell you all about it, and also quote scriptures concerning him. Jared, right there on the front page. 3544, 2582 BC, lived 962 years. Basically, is what I have down here. There's a little difference in the scholars when these people lived, okay? Vaychi, Mahalel, Chamesh, Shanim, Vishishim, Shana, Vayolid, Et Yared. All right, Jared, we're on 515. All right. Jared means what? According to this over here, it means descender, to go from a higher state to a lower state, to descend or transcend downwards, all right? To pour out, to empty, all right? To pour out, to empty. Jared. And I have some scriptures written down there also. Now let's go. Vaichi, Mahalel, Achare, Hovladov, H-O-V-L-I-D-O-V, Hovladov, Et. That's the easy one, E-T, Et. I added. Yered, Shem, or Shiloshim, that is, Shiloshim. Shana. Brother John, you've got it down. You're learning to say that. You, She, Monet. Miot. Shana. Vayolid. Banim. Yuvanot. All right, that's good. And lived, kept on existing. Third person masculine singular. Mahalel, splendor of God, 3609 to 2714 BC. Achare, after his begetting, Halodov, Et Jared, after his begetting, causing to beget Jared. By the way, this causing to beget here, that's Hithael infinitive construct. Jared, 3544 to 2582 BC. Jared means descending. Shilashim, 30 Shana years. Yushimone, and 800 Miot years. Shana, and he begat Violid, Banim, sons, and Yuvanot, daughters. All right, sons and daughters. Mahalel. How long did Mahalel live? According to this thing I did over here, about 895 years. 895 years. And then Jared, 962 years, approximately. Jared.
It's 900 and what?
900 and Jared is what? 962 years approximately. Okay. And he died and stayed dead. And he died and stayed dead. All right, are we on 517 now? Or 18? 517. Vayiyu. That's a hard one. Vayiyu. V-A-I-Y-I-H-Y-O-U. Vayiyu. Coal. What makes that a hard K instead of a C? The dot in the middle. Okay. Coal. And then Yamei. Yamei. Am I going too fast for you, David? Slow me down if I am now. Yamei. Y-E-M-E-I. All right. We will take time. Mahalel. All right. That means the splendor or praise of God. And then Shamesh, 5, Tishim, and 90, Shana, years, Yushimone, and 8, Yushimone. You need that 90 there, David? B-E-T-I-S-H-I-M, and the other one is Shamesh, C-H-A-M-E-S-H. That's the 5. Shana is years. Anybody with the name of Shana, that name means years. And then Yushimone. U-S-H-E-M-O-N-E-H. Yushimone, Miot. 100. Miot is 100. M-E-O-T. The modern Jews will put a V in there. Miot. But you really don't hear it when they say it. Shana. Vayamot. Vayamot means what? And he died and stayed dead. Third person masculine singular, cow, wow, consecutive, imperfect. Imperfect tense. All right? And he stayed dead. You can look that one up on page 559 in that Brown Driver and Briggs if you want to. 5 and verse 18 now. 5:18. Vaychi, Vaychi, Vaychi Yerid, Shitayim, Shitayim, Vishishim, Shitayim, Vishishim, Veshishim, and the other one, Shitayim, that's 2. Is Shetayim, Shitayim Vishishim. Shana, Uniat, Shana, Uniat is Uneat. Violet, Vaiyoled. You can put a V after the O in there if you want to, but it's not pronounced. Et, E-T, Chanak, Chanak. All right, let's look at who is this guy, Chanak. Who is Chanak? His name is pretty short, isn't it? Chanak. All right, Chanak. That's his name right there. See that one up there? Number 7. The 7th from Adam. 7 is a number what?
Perfection.
Perfection. Just think about the 7th from Adam. All right, the 7th from Adam. And God chose him, and by the way, you write Enoch. All right. That's Enoch, right there. Enoch. In Greek. Cross it over into Greek. Looks just like almost like it does Enoch. Enoch. What does Enoch mean? Do you remember?
Initiated.
One initiated into learning. It's scholar.
Teacher.
Teacher. Rabbi. He has. He's met the requirements. He is, it means doctor. It means learned one. 3382 to 3017 BC. By the way, he is quoted, or about him in 1 Chronicles 1 and 3, Luke 3:37, Hebrews 11:5, and Jude 14. Jude 14. Now Enoch is a special person. Evidently, Enoch did a lot of writing. I don't know. This is the book of Enoch the prophet, translated by Richard Lawrence. I'm going to put this on camera so they can see it out there. And they look that up. All right. By the way, there it is. Now, you can go to my website, discovertheword.com. And on the right-hand side of the page, it says the book of Enoch, and you can download this book so you have it. Now, Enoch is quoted in many places in the New Testament. I'm going to kind of just go into that just a little bit tonight, okay? And I picked out a few scriptures here to just bring it out, okay? Now, we know that in Jude, he's quoted in Jude 14. Let's go to the book of Jude and read that just a little bit. Now, we know that the Apostle Paul quoted a lot of pagan prophets, pagan poets and everything else. He used a lot of the pagan world's own familiar writings. Peter did, and so did James. They used a lot of it. They quoted. You don't know that until you go back and you know the writings, you get acquainted with them when you start doing studies of the books. And I've done this a lot because I've taught all the books of the New Testament. Well, they quoted a lot, but they didn't always say, I'm quoting from so-and-so. But now the book of Jude, let's see what it says there. Who's over there? Are you over there, Randall?
Yep.
Can you read that real loud for me? 14,
14.
14 and 15, 16.
It was also about these men that Enoch,
in the seventh generation from Adam, prophesied, saying, Behold, the Lord came with many thousands of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, and to convict all the ungodly of all their ungodly deeds which they have done in an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are the grumblers, finding fault, following after their own lusts. They speak arrogantly, flattering people for the sake of gaining an advantage.
All right, now this is quoting Enoch, and he quotes Enoch. Okay, now let's go, just take a few minutes here and go and look at other places that Enoch's quoted in the New Testament that he's not quoted. It doesn't say Enoch said this, but Enoch is quoted. All right?
They didn't have copyright laws.
What?
They didn't have copyright laws.
No, they didn't have copyright laws, and they didn't always say that so-and-so said this. You know, Father Paul, I mean, you can go, if you've studied my classes on the Apostle Paul, you will find me saying it came from this poet, it came from this writer, it came from so-and-so, you know. Now in Matthew 3:17, and lo, a voice from heaven saying, and in Enoch, and a voice from heaven was heard. All right, that's from Enoch. Okay, and Enoch again, the elect shall possess light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. And Matthew 5:5, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
That's Enoch.
Enoch was quoting, now Jesus is quoting Enoch. Okay? He inspired Enoch before to write it down, didn't he?
Yeah.
All right. And Enoch, he shall select the righteous and the holy from among them, for the day of their salvation has approached, and they shall become angels in heaven. Their countenances shall be bright in joy, and the earth shall be rejoiced, and the elect possess it. Now, when it says they shall become angels in heaven, it doesn't mean guys flying around. They shall become messengers. An angel needs messengers, doesn't it? All right. And Luke 21 and 28, and your redemption draws nigh. Matthew 22, verse 30, in the resurrection they are as angels in heaven. In Matthew 13, verse 44, then the righteous shall shine, be brightened with joy, and the earth forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Okay? In Enoch it says, those two who acquire gold and silver shall justly and suddenly perish. Woe to you who are rich, for in your riches you have trusted, and from your riches you shall be removed. James says, go now, you rich men, weep, howl for your miseries, and they shall come upon you. And Luke 6 and 24, woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Now in the book of Enoch it says, woe unto you sinners, and you say you are rich and possess wealth and have acquired everything which you can desire. Now then, will we do whatsoever we are disposed to do, and for what we have amassed silver, and our barns are full, and they shall surely die suddenly. Remember what Jesus said? The rich man went out and he did what? What do you think he's talking about? He's talking about what Enoch said in the Old Testament.
He gathered in.
Yeah, gathered in, built bigger barns and all of that. And in Enoch he says, and I will place each of them on a throne of glory, peculiarly of its own kind. And in Matthew 19:28, and ye also shall set upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. In Enoch, he says, in his judgment, he pays no respect to persons. In Romans 2:11, for there is no respect to persons with God. It is key. I mean, we could go on for another hour doing this, okay? In Enoch it says, Enoch 38 and verse 2, where will the habitation of sinners be who have rejected the Lord of spirits? It will have been better for them if they'd never been born. In Matthew 26 and verse 24, it says, woe unto that man whom he has, the Son of Man is portrayed. It would be better for that man if he had not been born. Okay?
Do we know when the book of Enoch was written?
We have copies of Enoch that go back to 300 BC. Okay? Now, the real book of Enoch, the real prophecies of Enoch had to be written between 3382 and 3017 BC. Okay? That's where it could have been. The book of Enoch that we have goes back to 300 BC, because or maybe even further. We don't know for sure, but it goes back to at least 300. The Qumranians and the Essenes occupied that area from 300 BC till about 70 AD, and it might have gone up even to 1000 BC. They don't know. Okay, we don't know really a whole lot about it. All right. Now, the angel Raphael was addressing Enoch in the region of the dead, and he said, here their souls are separated by a great chasm between the good and evil in Sheol or Hades, okay? And of course, in Luke, the 16th chapter, 24, Abraham addressing Dives from the region of the blessed, between us and you there is a great chasm or gulf fixed. The same story, all right? In Enoch, this is the Son of Man who will reveal all the treasures which is concealed. In Colossians 2 and 3 it says, in whom are hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. All right? In Enoch 24, 11 and 10 it says, I blessed the Lord of glory, the everlasting King, because he has prepared this tree for the saints, formed it, and declared that it will give it to them, and the sweet odor shall enter into their bones, and they shall live a long life on earth, and as their forefathers had lived, and neither in their days shall sorrow or distress or punishment afflict them. Revelation 22 and verse 2, it says, on either side of the river was a tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded its fruit in every month, and the leaves of the tree for the healing of the nations. And Revelation 2 and 7, it says, to him that overcometh I will give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. These are just some of them. Have you ever heard anything like this before? Anything? Okay. All right. In 2 Peter 2 and 4, it says, God spared not the angels. Now this goes right back to the book of Enoch too. In 2 Peter 2 and 4, God spared not the angels when they sinned, but cast them down into hell and committed them to the pits of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment. And in the book of Enoch it says, and to Michael also the Lord said, go and announce his crime to Samaria and to the others who are with him, who have been associated with women, bind down for 70 generations. Underneath the earth, even to the day of judgment, and of consummation until the judgment, which shall last forever and ever and be completed. Then shall they be taken away into the lowest depths of the fire of torments, and in confinement shall be shut up forever. Enoch says, in 21 and verse 56, I beheld columns of fire struggling together to the end of the abyss, and deep was their descent, but neither its measure nor its magnitude was I able to discover. Uriel, one of the holy angels, said, this is the prison of the angels, and here are they kept forever. Revelation 20 and verse 1, 2, 3. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the abyssum, the bottomless pit, the abyss, and a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold of the devil and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut it up and sealed it over him.
So much of what
is in the New Testament is
Enoch wrote was future.
The Jews studied the book of Enoch tremendously. Always. They believe that the book of Enoch that we have today was the book of Enoch that Enoch wrote. No one has done any research on this book hardly at all. None of the Christendom at all. It just hasn't done anything. They just shove it aside and forget it.
But what he wrote was, a lot of it was future.
Yes. Almost all of it was prophecy.
Yeah.
Prophecy.
Wasn't Enoch considered the first prophet?
He was. Enoch was considered the first prophet. He preached for probably 300 years that the flood was coming and that judgment was coming. And of course, he had named his son and all of this, and here was Noah, his grandson was there, Noah, or actually son. In Hebrew, there is no word for grandson. But and Noah knew Enoch. All right, now let's look at the end of this now. I want you to understand some things about history. Now, on the back side of this page here, I'm going to read this to you. By the way, Noah was born 126 years after the death of Adam. 126 years after the death of Adam. Noah was born 14 years after the death of Seth. Noah was 84 years old when Enoch died. Noah was 26 years old when Canaan died. Noah was 234 years old when Mahalalel died. Noah was 366 years old when Jared died. You think they knew each other?
Of course.
Noah was 84 years old when Enoch was raptured.
How old was he?
84 years old when Enoch was raptured. 84 years old when Enoch was raptured. Noah was 600 years old when Methuselah died. Noah was 588 years old when Lamech died. Abraham was 50 years old when Noah died. Abraham was 50 years old when Noah died. Okay? That ties it together just a little bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's something we don't even think about, that they knew
Well, I'm going to
each
tell you something.
other.
That took weeks of research, right?
Oh.
I have been working on that off and on over the years, and I just decided to concentrate it lately and write it down on paper and get it all down there when I did this last class.
But they all knew and saw many
They knew each other.
and saw.
Well, except for Adam and Seth, no one knew these people. And I'm sure he knew of them, of course.
Okay.
All right? Let's go on a little bit further now. Let's look at this. We talked about the bottomless pit. I'll remember what I say about the seed of the woman. The seed of the woman. Genesis 3:15 is the promise of the Messiah, isn't it? And Genesis 4 and verse 1. Read that for me, someone. Genesis 4 and verse 1. We need to look at that because that's very important. Enoch believed that. He said, he put it in different words than any of the other prophets did. And we're going to see that.
Now the man had relations with his wife Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. And she said, I have gotten a man-child with the help of the Lord.
Okay, now we saw that in Hebrew. What does it say in Hebrew? I have gotten a man, even Jehovah. She thought the Messiah was born. Of course, that was a great disappointment because they saw their sin completely come to full fruit in that son because he murdered his brother. All right. Now in Enoch, and it says here, and trouble shall seize them when they shall behold the Son of Woman sitting upon the throne of his glory. The Son of Woman. He's not called the Son of Man, but the Son of Woman because he is the Messiah's son. He is no Son of Man, he's Son of Woman. He's Son of God, isn't he?
Yeah.
Son of Woman and Son of God. He's related to the human race, all right? Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and they shall the tribes of the earth mourn, for they shall see the Son of Man. Enoch says the Son of Woman, the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And Enoch, he sat upon the throne of his glory while the book of living was opened in his presence, and while all the powers which are above the heavens stood around him and before him. And Revelation 20 and verse 11, 15 and 13 and 15, and I saw the great white throne and him that sat upon it, and I saw the dead, small and great, standing before the throne, and the books were open. Another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to the works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in them, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and whosoever was not found in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. In those days shall the earth deliver up from her womb, Enoch said, and hell shall deliver up from hers. By the way, it's using that as if it's talking about in the feminine gender, because, you know, the earth is feminine. All right? Oryx. That which has been received, and the destruction shall restore that which is owed. And he shall elect the righteous and the holy from among them. In those days shall the mouth of hell be opened, into which they shall be emerged, and hell shall be destroyed, and swallow up sinners from the face of the elect. And in Enoch, after this, I beheld thousands upon thousands and tens of thousands times 10,000, and an infinite number of people standing before the Lord of spirits. And that day shall the elect one set upon the throne of glory, and shall choose their conditions and countless habitations. In Revelation 5:11, I have beheld, I heard a voice of many angels round about the throne, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, thousands of thousands. That's what it means, without arithmetic. In Matthew 25:31 and 32, then they shall sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another. All right? In John 19 and verse 2, in my house, Father's house, are many habitations. Revelation 22 and verse 1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and first earth were passed away. And in Enoch it says, and the former heaven shall depart and pass away, and a new heaven shall appear. And the word of his mouth shall destroy all sinners, in the book of Enoch says. And in the New Testament, 2 Thessalonians 1 and 9, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power. And of course, in the book of Revelation, I saw a new heaven and earth. The first heaven and earth were passed away. Now, how does Jesus in the book of Revelation, how does he destroy the wicked? With a sword of his mouth. All right? There we go. And I beheld that valley in which a strong smell of sulfur, which became mixed with the waters, and the valley of the angels who had been guilty of seduction, burned beneath its soil. Through the valley the rivers of fire were flowing, to which the angels shall be condemned, who seduce the inhabitants of the earth. Depart from me, in Matthew 25 and verse 41. Depart from me, ye cursed, into the everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. And 20 in verse 10, and the devil was deceived, and that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. All right. Enoch says, now I point out a mystery. Many sinners shall turn and transgress against the word of righteousness, and they shall speak evil things, and they shall utter falsehoods. In 1 Timothy 4 and 12, and the Spirit expressly says that in the latter time shall fall away from the faith through hypocrisy, and men shall speak lies. Well, of course, in Jude 8 and Jude 14 and 15, from the book of Enoch 2nd Enoch 26 and verse 2. That's quoted. Now that's just some of it, okay? That'll give you something to look into later. Let's go on a little further now. We talked about Enoch. Enoch means what? Teacher. It means one initiated into and trained as a scholar and a rabbi. And the word rabbi, when in John the 3rd chapter, when Nicodemus addressed Jesus as rabbi, it meant doctor of theology. Rabbi means doctor of theology. I have a Jewish boy I talk to on the radio, and he always calls me Rabbi. Rabbi. Hello, Rabbi. That's a high term among them. That's a doctor of theology. Rabbi. Thy chief. Thy chief. 5:19. Thy chief. Can you say that? Thy chief. B-A-Y-C-H-I.
By
Chi Yered, Achare, Hogladol, Achare is Acharei, by the way. Hogladol is Hoblidob or D-O, Hogladol. Et. And here we have the word Enoch, but it's Chanach. Shemone, Shemoneh, Shemone. Shanah. Violid. Banim, Yuvanot. Let's go back and look at this now. Chi, and lived, kept on existing, Jared, after his begetting, causing to beget, Ithiel infinitive construct, Et, Enoch, 8 Shemoneh, Miot, 100 Shana years, Violid, and he begat, or caused to beget, kept on begetting, Banim is sons, plural, and Yuvanot, daughters. Sons and daughters. Now, I'm going to tell you something. These people had a lot of people. The earth was populated. The earth was populated with the good and the bad. Simple as that. Now, 5 and verse 20. 5 and verse 20. By ye you, B-A-I-Y-E-H-Y-U. By ye you, and then how do you say this next one? Coal. By ye you, coal, K-O-L, E-M-A, Y-E-M-E-I, Yemei, Yerid, Shitayim. Shitayim is 2. That's a long word for saying 2. Shitayim. Uishim. Uishishim. Boy. Uishishim. Shwa, in the biblical Hebrew, Vishishim. Vishishim. And 60 Shana years. And 900 Miot Shana years Vayumot. And he died. All right, now Jared lived 3544 to 2582 BC. By the way, let me show you this just a little bit. A woman in the church over there the other day when I was preaching, she was a little bit mixed up about this, and I didn't hear what she said real good because my hearing is not the best in the world. They're way out there in the congregation, and I'm up there on the pedestal. Here is AD, and here is BC. BC starts here at 1, and it gets bigger. Going that way. AD starts here at 1, and it gets bigger going that way. All right? So the further you go back this way, the bigger the number. The further you go this way, the bigger the number. All right? Look on number 9 on the back, on your little paper. Okay? Lamech. In Genesis 5:25, he lived from 3137 BC to 2360 BC. Okay? Now look down to Noah. Noah lived from 2498 to 1998 BC. Okay? Go back up to Methuselah. Methuselah, his name was very important. What did his name mean? When he's dead, it shall come to pass. When he died that year, the flood became. 3317 to 2348 BC. Do you see that? Now look at Lamech. Lamech died before the flood, I think about 12 or 14 years before the flood. 3137 to 2360 BC. See that? Now, which one's older? Which one got closer to the flood? Started in 2348 BC, didn't it?
Mhm.
All right. But Lamech died in 2360 BC, didn't he? So he died holding back this way. All right. Thought I'd show you that. Did that help you any? No. You probably already knew that anyway. Know that, David? Did you know that, David?
You mentioned it this
No.
morning.
Okay. I didn't know whether I had mentioned it before or not. Where did we finish up there on verse 20? All right, and he died, and Jared, all the days of Jared were basically 962 years, and he died, and he stayed dead. That's what the word "he died" and "stayed dead" means. Okay? 521. 521. Do you need anything there? Did I miss anything for you, David? Did you get everything down? Baichi. Tanok. Shamesh, Chamesh, Vishishim, or Washishim, or Vishishim, that's whatever way you want to say it, either biblical Hebrew or modern Hebrew. All right. Shana, Violet. Violet. That sounds just like violet. V-A-I-Y-O-L-E-D. Violet. When they say it, it just sounds like violet. Kind of like that. Et. Et's what? What is et? What is et? Olive tau. Sign of the direct object, page 84. Okay? What is the Greek equivalent of et in the New Testament? Ace. Epsilon, iota, sigma, E-I-S, what it looks like. Sign of direct object, Methuselah, Methuselah. All right, man of the dark. All right, that's the one that lived how long? How long did Methuselah live? 969 years. Long time. 969 years. All right. His name means man of the dark, a missile or weapon, a dart or a spear, a man of the weapon, or a man destined to die. Or when he's dead, it shall come to pass. And lived Enoch 560 years and begat Methuselah. And who named Methuselah prophetically? Enoch. What was Enoch? A master teacher, the prophet of old. Okay? Now, I could have given you a whole lot more prophecies that Enoch and quoted them in the New Testament. I think that probably every book in the New Testament in some way quotes Enoch's writing. Just about every book. 522 now.
I wonder if Methuselah died of natural causes.
Methuselah?
Mm-hmm.
Evidently he did. He died old.
Yeah.
969 years.
The book of Enoch wasn't even in the Apocrypha, was it?
Yes, it was.
Wasn't it?
A long time it was. By the way, the rabbis believed that the book of Enoch, but somehow or another the book of Enoch was lost. We have it turning up about 1000 AD. The most copied book at the Qumran caves was the book of Enoch. They had more copies when they found the writings there at the Qumran cave. They found more copies of the book of Enoch than any other book. Did you know that? That's the one that they quoted and copied. The book of Enoch. And it goes back to at least 300 BC. We know that Jesus and John the Baptist and all of them were definitely acquainted with the writings of Enoch. All right. How much of the book of Enoch, as we see it here, is absolutely fact and everything, I do not know. But I think a lot of it is. Nobody's ever done a study of it except the Hebrew rabbis. All right. New Testament quotations from Enoch, there's a whole lot of them. I put down here Matthew 3:17, 5 and 5, Luke 21:28, James 5 and 1, Luke 26 and verse 28, 26, 2 Corinthians the 12th chapter and verse 1, I think it is, Revelation 17 and 14 and 19 and 16, and Revelation the 20th chapter, Revelation 22nd chapter. These are all ones I quoted to you a while ago. Okay? I have them written down in this too. And Jude 14 and 16 direct quotation because he is quoted there. 5:22. We'll finish this one right here tonight. This is where we'll go tonight, 5 and verse 22. Vayit halek. That's a hard one. Vayit halek. V-A-I-Y-I-T-H-A-L-L-E-C-H. Vayit halek. All right? Enoch, that's Enoch. Et. Ha. Elohim. Acharei. A-C-H-A-R-E-I. Havledo. Et. Metushelach. Shilosh. Miot. Shana. Vayod. Banim. What's the last one? Yuvanot. There you guys are coming around. Yuvanot. Vayit halak chanach et ha Elohim acharei halivdol et metushalah shilosh miot shana vayovin. Banim yuvanot. That's the way you read it out fast, okay? And walked, and kept on walking, Enoch, with God, with the God. Not an figment of his imagination, not some pagan God, but the God, Ha Elohim. All right? Acharei, after his Haladol, after his Et, Methuselah, Shiloshi, 3, Miot, Shana, 300 years, and he begat sons and daughters. Now, he had a bunch more of them, didn't he? Enoch had sons and daughters. But I want you to understand something. How many of these dudes got on the ark?
3 sons.
3 sons of Noah. Noah. And 3 boys. And their wives. And his wife. That's all they got on the ark. I imagine that Enoch preached at least 300 years. How long did Noah preach? 120 years. 300 and 120, that's 420 years of preaching that the damnation and judgment was coming. Boy. If they were modern revivalist preachers, they wouldn't have done very well, would they?
Enoch's sons didn't even make it.
No.
Right.
Just think about that. Sons and daughters. All of these. He had a lot of them. Sons and daughters. Well, 5:23, let's do one more. Is that all right? One more. Vahi. Vahi kol yemei Enoch. That goes too fast. Vahi kol yemei Enoch. That's Enoch. Shemesh. V'shishim or Vashishim. Either way you want us to say it. The biblical Hebrew is Wa, and the modern Hebrew is V'shishim, Shana, Yushilash, Miot, Shana. And became all the days of Enoch 560 years and 300 years. In other words, Enoch lived 365 years, and it doesn't say what? He did not die. He did not die. He did not die. And then it tells us about that in the next verse. We're going to start off next verse next week, 5:24. But we're not going too fast, are we? right, that's where we'll start. Enoch is translated next week. Enoch is raptured. Enoch and Elijah portray 1 Thessalonians 4:16 and 17. The Old Testament says, by 2 or 3 witnesses let everything be established. We have 2 witnesses to the ability of God to rapture the saved. Enoch and Elijah were saved. They knew the Lord. And he zipped them up. All right? He zipped them up. You know what I have heard? Brother John, you're a theologian.
I heard that.
Have you ever heard anybody else say that besides me?
Well, Enoch and
Yeah, about being a type of the rapture.
yeah.
Have you? You know, I don't know whether I've ever heard it anyplace else.
But most of them think they're going to come back.
They're going to be the witnesses, yeah. But if they were the witnesses in the book of Revelation, then that was a very, very good type of the rapture, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be a very good type. So I don't think it's a type. I don't think they're the witnesses in Revelation for that reason. When we did the book of Revelation, how many people did I have that people have considered being the 2 witnesses? I think there was, 11 or something?
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. John, Daniel, Elijah, Enoch, Moses, Jonah. I can't remember all of them. There's a whole lot of these people that think that they were going to be the witnesses in the book of Revelation. Well, there's where we'll get started next week. 5 and verse 24, if the Lord spares me one more time. Keep praying for me, but because every week is a struggle with this weather and pollution in this valley this year has just absolutely taken its toll on me. Destructively. Any questions? Did you enjoy me reading the thing about Enoch from the book of Enoch to you? Probably you would have never gone to do that. I marked this off years and years ago. How many of you have you ever read the Apocrypha? That's something you ought to do. You ought to read the Apocrypha. That is pretty good reading too. How much of that is absolutely fact, I don't know either. But the Jews always considered it as inspired of God. Well, let's have a prayer, and I'm going to turn you loose out there on the world. Go out and do something eternal. Brother David, would you dismiss us in prayer, please, brother?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening we've had together to study your word. Be with us this week as we go out into the world and help us to pass on what we've learned. And be with Brother Jim as he struggles with the weather and